Good and fair evening, my friends. Welcome back to the tavern for another night of storytelling. I hope that you're all doing well, that the winter is treating you properly. We're having a second summer out here, where it's 75 degrees, I think, outside right now. Might be a little bit less than that. Absolute lunacy. Somebody messed with the weather machine. Bobby, hello! Long time no see. I'm glad that you could make it in. Let's get Matty a toot on the raid horn for his raiding. They go 3, 2, 1. Tyson, hello, my friend. Welcome in. We had another snow day. I would give anything for snow. Snow and rain and silt and ice. I'll take hold of it. My Twitch replies still aren't working properly. What do you mean? Like you can't reply to people in the chat? They updated a whole bunch of things, and I also got a Windows update last night. So I've been fighting with the program for the last hour and a half. It's absolutely ridiculous. I could try to ship it here. I would appreciate that. Absolutely. Maddie, don't worry about. Look, it is possible for you to upset other people. You should always be kind. You should always be courteous. You should always do your best to be as courteous as possible. However, you cannot hold yourself responsible for how other people react to what you do when you're just being your normal self, right? If you are being, excessive for no reason at all, then you can say, all right, well, maybe that's a little bit on me. You do need to be self-reflective. But even if you are being the most offensive person in the world, it's still other people's responsibility how they decide to respond to it. So you can't let it get in your head about those things. I popped in during the other book and looked for a bit, then fell asleep. That's all right, Bobby. That's all right. I'm just glad to see you. That's all. Castle Grumpy Dragon ignored me today, did he? Being he's picking up temperament from Unaha, just being all disdainful. I can select the reply button, but then when I press send after typing it out, the reply sends as a normal comment. Oh, I see. That is interesting. It's probably a problem with Twitch. Darth Nexus, my friend. Hello, welcome in. Thank you for the heart, mate. Tips to the tavern keeper always appreciated. Hello, Milu. I hope that you're feeling all right, or at least you're feeling better. Give me enough heat that I can swim, and I'm happy. See, I'll swim when it's 30 degrees outside, though. It's in the 40s and 50s here, talking about getting snow later this week. See, I don't think we're even going to get any snow out here. We got one stint of rain where it was like 40, 50 degrees for a couple of days, and then it went away. We're back in the 70s and 80s already. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, I see what you're saying. Maybe he was just like, this kid. He's probably just going to say more weird stuff. I don't want to send people over there. My anxiety just being my anxiety. You have to. The reason why I say what I said is not to chastise you for thinking it, but you have to actively say inside of your head, look, I can only do so much to mitigate how other people feel. Other people have to take responsibility for their feelings and the way that they respond to them. You can take responsibility for your part in it, but other people still have to take responsibility for the way that they respond to things, you know? Destiny Love, 59 whole months. Thank you kindly for the resub. Of course, tips to the tavern keeper are always appreciated. Someone from Virginia Beach that's like 3 feet. Molly says 24. Hello, Molly. I don't know if I said hello. 24 degrees Fahrenheit here with a wind chill of 60. That sounds so bleeding lovely. I just love when my screen doesn't start like it should once the video starts. I'm sorry, Frost. Technology's beating everybody up tonight. I can't get on Discord, so I deleted it because I can't get in Discord. I'm sorry to hear that, Teresa. You should be able to email them and their support, and that's usually what has to be done. There's only so much that we can do because we don't have access to the technical side of things on Discord. There's only so much we can do. For a second, I thought you called me mom, and then I realized that you were talking to Destiny. And then Milu, you said, chemo is making me gross today, so I'm going to lurk and recuperate. That's absolutely acceptable. Not only is that acceptable, it is advised. You should be taking your time to heal and recuperate. What you're going through is hefty, and you need to let your body have every opportunity. Dark Nexus, thank you for the Go Popular as well, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you kindly. I just know I'm being my usual jokey self is all. I think it might be my anxiety saying, hey, having fun can equal people getting upset with you. I'm working on that since I know it's not true. And even if they do, it's not your responsibility if somebody's going to get upset with you. If you're enjoying yourself and not hurting anybody. And I mean actually hurting people. I know a lot of people say that words can cause injury, and sure, in roundabout ways they can. But in the way that people are strictly talking about, like the hurting of feelings, that is a choice. If I say, "Hey, Matty, you're the dumbest, silliest, worst yogurt maker on the planet, and your feet smell like Limburger cheese," that is entirely up to you whether you decide to get upset by that. Was I rude for saying it? Yes, absolutely. But you can just laugh it off. Like, if you go through my comments on Facebook, there are tons of people who insult me. A lot of people don't like my voice. Some people don't like my beard. It's just, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. That's just the way that it is. And you can either get upset by the things that people say or the way that you have made somebody feel. Because you don't make people feel things. People decide to feel a way based on their preconceived notions and then decide whether or not to act on it. That's just the way that it is. My computer is incorporating. I need to do a restart. That's all right, Bear. We're not going to start here for a minute, so it's okay. Brent, hello and welcome. 54 degrees Fahrenheit here in Dallas, Texas. See, it's bad when even Texas is colder than where we are. I'm out in California, and it is absolutely dreadfully hot. Sass, thank you for the rose. I appreciate you for that. Thank you kindly. Tips to the tavern keeper, always appreciated. Very wholesome waffles today. Yeah, I don't even know where they're coming from. Just and hey, Quad, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you, brother. Resubbing made me notice that I haven't resubbed myself, and I don't have money now because I'm going all out for my. That's all right, love. I appreciate the thought. There's always next month. I don't ever want you guys to overextend yourself in supporting the tavern. It is always appreciated, but whatever you guys do, whether you pick up shorts or whether you it sounded like I said shirts, whether you pick up shirts or you subscribe or you tip or you cheer or any of those things, none of that is required. I'm going to do this whether you do that or not. But when you do it is appreciated, and just showing up to help is. I won't be able to stay in for long, but I missed your faces. We miss your face as well. And everything that's attached to it, presumably. Yeah, Matty could be the absolute worst yogurt maker on the planet. Probably, actually, to be fair, Matty is probably not a very good yogurt maker now that I think about the context of the insult. I don't know many great yogurt makers as it stands. I get you. Like I said, my anxiety is my biggest enemy in a way. It is. But anxiety comes from self-perception. Like, it is the way that you look at yourself and the things you constantly tell yourself. You have to actively build yourself up against the attacks that you put on yourself. Oh, that reminds me, I need to check out the shop. Still the same website? Yes, it is. It's still Black Dragon Tavern / shop. It might be changing soon to the Adventurers Guild, but it'll still be on the same website. I mean, I'm 100%. I am horrible at making anything without it exploding. Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, Castle, the new short videos have been great. I love the old one. I'm glad you like them, Bobby. The lady and I have been busting butt to make the absolute best stories that we can. Fiend Joker, my friend, happy birthday. I remembered. Happy birthday. I'm glad that you're dropping in to spend some time with us for your birthday, my friend. I hope that so far it's been a good one. I hope there will still be Viking raspberry shirts when I have the money again. The lady is going to leave the design up at least until February, and the sale is going on until January 8th for all the tavern gear. So I have liked and shared as many of the new videos as I can, loving the I'm glad, Frost. I'm glad that you're enjoying them. The lady and I have been having a lot of fun deciding and coordinating the stories, and I've liked a lot of the ones that have come out. I always know that when I put out anything that has to do with Norse mythology, I'm gonna get all kinds of grief about it because nobody can agree on anything in Norse mythology. So I always know I'm gonna get a little bit of grief, but I love the stories. Like I grew up with the stories, so it's hard for me to just abandon doing anything in Norse mythology because I love Norse myth. I love Celtic mythology. I love Welsh mythology because I grew up with it. Like those are the ones that were most prominent that I grew up with because that's my family. Like my family are from Norway. I have a couple of family members from Sweden, but we don't. We pretend like they're not. Thank you, Frost. I appreciate you, brother. We're gonna snooze them for a minute while we finish waffles, and then we'll run some and get started on story time. And I got family from Southern and Northern Ireland. Uh, so that, like it's what I grew up with. And I have family that lives out in Cornwall. I have family that lives on St. Michael's Island. I have family uh, all about. Well, whoever anonymously gifted, thank you for gifting Bethany a sub. I appreciate you for that. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated, my friends. Oh, I'm going to try and order one after Christmas. Excellent, Molly. I hope that you guys enjoy them. I didn't get a chance to order samples, so if there's any problems, please let us know so that we can address it with the printers. Usually we order samples before we make things go live, but the lady was really rushing for things because she wanted to get them out before the holidays for everybody. So we didn't get a chance to get any samples in before we put them live. I learned the other day that Santa was based on Odin from a documentary. I'd never thought of that. So to a degree, this is a weird topic that gets very skewed, right? Like there's a lot of the way that a lot of people talk about this. It ends up being very reductive, and I don't like that because it takes what is like hundreds of years of cultural evolution and essentially compresses it down. The idea of Santa Claus is like this conglomeration of like a dozen different myths, and they end up getting conflated together quite a bit. There are stories of Odin like delivering uh, like necessary supplies during the winter as a part of like the wild hunt myth. Like the wild hunt, they're out there and destroying the living dead, like the Draugr and stuff that are walking, those that have escaped hell. That's part of the mythos of the wild hunt, and they'll leave like venison and furs and stuff for people who are in need as a part of the uh, that whole mythos. So there are Santa Claus like aspects to some of the stories about Odin. But Santa isn't directly based on Odin. As a matter of fact, the Santa Claus that we have today is actually almost an entirely original invention that takes inspiration from the Odin myth as well as from Saint Nicholas, as well as from uh, Sinterklaas and and the Krampus myth from the Netherlands and Denmark. So it's this long line of things. I was gonna do a whole video, like a long video story time on like all of these different things about Christmas, but I don't even know if anyone would care. I think everybody is so like inundated with that sort. I don't even know if anyone would care about it. It's such a spoken about topic these days. I love all the Norse content. I'm glad you like it, Frost. Casey says, I have always loved Norse and Celtic mythology, but sorry, my favorite has always been Egyptology. Egyptian mythology is absolutely fascinating, and very unique in its structure. So it's worth having your interest focused on it. Indiana watching will welcome in Donna, so very glad that you could join us. Grab your seat, fill your mug. We're doing a little bit of waffling before we get into story time. This says I'm super excited for the raspberry shirt. I'll be honest, it was pretty much you, Ashley, and Frost pushing for the and Bear pushing for the raspberry shirt that finally pushed the lady over the edge to doing it. I'm gonna order later this month, whenever you like. That's why we did it for a full month, the sale for a full month, so you guys can grab them whenever you like. The fact that Prime subscription doesn't auto-renew forces an add-on me at least 3 times a year. Yeah, I don't know why they... Well, no, I do know why they do that. They want you to do it manually so that it's more likely you'll pay for it. That's the reason why. It's a marketing ploy. I just got second from 9th on a 58-lap race. I don't know what that means, Aaron. That's some math that doesn't math in my head. Joker, how goes it? Happy birthday, my friend. I think I said happy birthday earlier. I don't know if you heard me. But happy birthday, Joker. It's good to see you, my friend. I would love to hear about all of that. Well, maybe we'll do a thing. That was the basic framework that they discussed. Yeah. And again, like, there are some really good documentaries and books that talk about these things, but a lot of it ends up being... I thought you said it was this Thursday. See, miscommunication. All right. Happy birthday next Thursday, then. Because that'll be... No, that won't be Christmas. It'll be just before Christmas. Castle, if you made a video reading the dictionary, I'd watch it. I'd care. Yes, we would. I would come. All right. Well, then maybe because I have two story times that I'm going to put out, 2 videos I'm going to put out before Christmas, and I haven't decided which ones they're going to be yet, but the Santa myth is one of my passions. And it's fascinating because it's such an evolution. Because what we have today is essentially a Coca-Cola advertising, which is why, like, so many people get on, like, consumerism and the mall thing. And while, yes, it has gotten out of hand, there is a certain beauty and whimsy to, like, early American, like, toy shopping and the early American, like, advertising that more or less was pretty genuine. And then the cigarette companies got a hold of everything, and it all got out of hand. She just got tired of us talking about it. I think that's part of it. I think she also finally just realized, she's like, well, they really want it, and you guys are the ones, like, those of you who have been demanding the raspberry shirt, were basically like, you guys are the ones who support the tavern most, you guys show up most often. So she's like, well, we'll do it as a gift to them. Is the raspberry word on a hoodie? I might do that instead, but I want a hoodie. Is it a green, true, or sample color, or more olive? I'm debating between that and blue. The green. Somebody bought a green one. There are a couple of different greens. Message me about it, Milu, and I'll send you the If I have pictures of it, I'll send you pictures of it. That way you can see it more effectively. Oh, there you go. Destiny's taking care of it. I started in 9th place and ended in 2nd with no view. Oh, okay. Very good. Good work. Castle, you could do one of the Sunday talks on the... I could do that too. I was going to do a full, like, video essay on it so that I could hit all of the points and and go over it. But yeah, we can do it all. We can do it on Sundays as well. Ashley, Jessica, hello, welcome in. Good to see you both. You made it in just in time. We're about to run ads over on Twitch, and then we're going to get started with the next episode of Harry Potter. What did the raspberry shirt come from? So the joke was, a couple of people were asking, and it's a joke I've told for years. We're talking about how to blow these horns because there's no reed or anything inside of them. It's just a hollowed out horn, and then you've got a lip on it here, and you essentially blow it the same way you would like a trumpet or a trombone or anything like that. And somebody was asking how you blow it. And I said it's essentially you blow a raspberry into the horn, and that's what makes the noise. And so it became a joke that we're blowing Viking raspberries because if I take the horn away, I'm just going. So that's the whole joke. That's the whole place in the Viking, which is why the lady didn't want to make the thing around. She's like, this is so vague. No one else is gonna care about this shirt. So designing a whole shirt around an inside joke, she's like, this is silly, but it is fun though. By the way, my name is pronounced Cassandra, so it's pronounced Sassy with a K. So Cassie, not Casey. Got it. I will remember. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very behind on the thing. I got off on rambles there a bit. Doing this on mobile is a trip. Grumpy Dragon still thinks Milu's little cuties are on. I'm sad I didn't bring up wanting the shirt more because I guess I didn't want to be annoying. So no, and I all of you who bring it up and who want it is the reason why the lady did it. Because she's like, well, the regulars are the ones who are requesting it. The regulars in the tavern are the ones who are requesting the Viking raspberries. So, now, there were some of you who are definitely more persistent than others. Everyone's doing well. We're just getting some waffles out of the way before we start story time. We know the commercialism of the holidays doesn't stop me from enjoying all the various stories and getting. Yeah, well, I don't think that the consumerism part is necessarily bad. Again, it has gotten out of hand, but like there's something really whimsical about like the toy shopping and the advertising and the decorating of markets and things for Christmas. I think that it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. No, it's still fun. I'm playing a stealth mission for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and that horn made me think, oh god. I have a tavern hoodie on right now. I need to order more of the tavern shirts for me because I actually really like the cloth that are on the shirts. I called myself a twat waffle on stream today. Apparently, it's accurate. It's annoying people. It's us annoying. I'll be annoying enough for you, Bethany. It works for this. It does. The raspberry shirt is hysterical. I was so happy to see that. Yeah, Ura's been like fretting over. She's like, I know they want it, but I just don't see anybody else caring. And then finally we came to the conclusion, we're like, well, who cares, right? Like, we don't hawk merchandise anyways. Like, we don't talk about merchandise. Like, we have merchandise, we just don't ever sell it. So it just sits there. But we don't hawk merchandise, we don't talk about selling things. So she's like, you know what? It's going to sell exactly as much as the other merchandise that we make. So, there we go. Hello, Love's popping in for a second. It's awesome. I'm buying a couple on Saturday when I get paid. I appreciate you guys. You guys are lovely. If you haven't bought the book on Amazon for someone for Christmas, that's true. That was Destiny. Destiny she said, I'll be annoying enough for you, Bethany. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all for the love and support. Alright, we're going to run ads on Twitch real quick, and then we're going to get into chapter 15 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. The lady used to play Genshin, Everett plays it, and I used to play it with a lady, but we haven't played in a long time. I made it in, Christy. You actually made it in just in time. We're just now getting ready to start story time. Yes, buy the book, buy the shirts, buy everything. I appreciate you guys. And literally every penny that you guys spend and every ounce of whatever we get through monetization on ads on YouTube and stuff, all of it goes back into making stories. So there's that. Have you ever done a storytime reading on R.A. Salvatore? I can't help thinking you'd have the perfect voice for King Bruner, a character from his Strauss original. I haven't, so I am familiar with him. I actually think I have one of his books over there. Dritz. I have one of the Dritz novels over there. All of the stories during story time are actually. While I'm saying this, we're gonna run this real quick. Hang on, we're gonna run this for Twitch. All of the stories during story time. All right, Frost. We'll see you when you get back, brother. All of the stories for story time are voted on by the community. You guys recommend books, and then the community votes on the 3 or 4 most popular ones whenever we end one book. So, for instance, this is the series that we're finishing up on Tuesdays right now, is the Rift War saga. This was one that we just finished a few weeks ago, or I guess a couple of months ago now, called Silverthorn by Raymond E. Feist, and this is the 3rd book in the Magician series, or the Rift War series, and we're currently reading A Darkness at Sethinon. I never would have read these books on my own. I never would have read them on my own, because the first one is very slow. It's good, it's well written, the characters are interesting, but it's a slow, but it takes 200 pages to set up the story. It's very slow, but the payoff is absolutely worth it. But I would have given up after 100 pages if I were just reading it for pleasure, because it's so slow. And it was recommended by somebody over in the guild, and because of that, we put it in the roster. The patron made their case to others to vote on it, gave it a chance, and everybody's loved it so far. So much so that now it's consistently been voted the next book to be read, the next adult book to get read for now 8 months running. Because the second part, that one got voted in. Silverthorn, that one got voted in, and now A Darkness at Sethinon, that one got voted in. Yeah, 250 pages to get going. It was so long, and again, the characters are interesting, the world is interesting, but it's such a slow burn before anything really substantial happens. Bear is the #1 purchaser of the festival's book, probably in the world at the moment. Twat waffle, British English speak all right, especially at great length without saying anything important or useful. Is that really what that means? I never would have guessed that. I have almost the entire series of Salvatore's. Is it Salvatore or Salvatore? I've heard it said both ways, but I'm not sure. Drow books. I just happened across the story time on Tuesday, so I caught some of that. But well, very good then. Yeah. So if and actually, Salvatore has been recommended. Actually, he's on the list. The Dritz series has been requested quite a bit. I've got 5 copies. I'm gonna step up. You really don't, Destiny. You and Lucas support the tavern plenty. I've got to buy. You guys really don't need to buy more than one of the festival's book. Salvatore. All right, well, there you go. But yeah, it's on the list. I don't choose any of the books though. It's voted on entirely by you guys. So if you'd like to join the guild and run a campaign for for Salvatore, you're more than welcome to. Because let's see, we are. Hang on, where are we? Well, I think we're about halfway through. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, we're 40% of the way through Deathly Hallows. So we're almost done with the Harry Potter series, and then we'll need a new family-friendly one. And we've got maybe 2/5 of this left. And we'll have to vote on another book. Now, very likely when we finish up with these two, we'll probably finish them about the same time. What'll end up happening is we will do the readathon because we haven't done a readathon in a while, so I'll probably do a readathon, and the readathon will very likely be the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings because that's sort of tavern tradition is we do the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and sometimes we'll throw in like a little reading of some of the unfinished tales and the Silmarillion. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Uh, a friend of mine got kidnapped by a group of mimes. They did the unspeakable. They did unspeakable things. Well, they'd have to, wouldn't they, Scott? They'd have to do unspeakable things. That's a fact. I unfortunately have to leave too. I'll be back hopefully. All right, Ashley, love. Have a good night. If you don't make it back in, kiss Mateus for us, and we'll see you. We'll see you maybe later, and if not, I'll see you all on Sunday. Which the lady may or may not be joining me. I'll probably be taking over Sunday for the next 2 weeks because the lady is going to be gone. And now I definitely am because she told me not to. God, I would have never read them. I would have never read them and hence be able to recommend them. They weren't recommended to me. Well, that's fair. That's fair, Bert. I still don't need that series. I still don't need that series. You don't need it, but you want it. Maybe what I'll do. How about this? At the end of Feist during the readathon, I was thinking about doing some book giveaways, giving away some of the most popular books that we've read in the tavern. What do you guys feel about that? Maybe we'll do like a whole collection of the Rift Wars series since we'll kind of like as a celebration. We'll give out maybe like a couple of singles of the first book, and then maybe do a whole set as a giveaway. Fair enough. Yeah. Everything is a competition for Destiny. You don't understand. She's competing with everybody all the time on everything, but also not. She lives purely out of aggressive spite. But love, aggressively spiteful love is the fuel for Destiny. What about the stories of Robin Hood? What about the stories of Robin Hood, Skjor? What is the question there? We've I think I've done readings of the stories. I don't think we've ever done them on Storytime though. Oh my gosh, I'm so far back. Hang on. I didn't realize that I wasn't scrolling properly. All right, excellent, Matty. There's only about a week left of the guild, yeah, and then the whole guild has to move over to Discord. It's a very sad thing. Where's the lady disappearing to? She is going up to visit family with the boy. Was supposed to be going with her, but I decided that there's too much work that I still need to do. So I will be spending the Christmas trip here doing work while her and Everett go and visit family. I'd be interested in the Silmarillion. Never read any of the Lord of the Ring books though. You will love because I do performative reading, so I try to voice all of the characters, and the Lord of the Rings is a proper performance. Raven, hello. Thank you kindly. Appreciate you. My birthday's on the 18th. I'll be sure to remember next week then, Joker. I'll be sure to remember next week. Aggressively spiteful love. No, 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 no. Ona is just going to visit family. It was supposed to be a family trip. We were all supposed to go up, but we. I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it set. We didn't. I didn't get enough work done, and there are things that still have to be paid for. So I need to stay here and work. And she's not happy about it, but yeah, it is what it is. That's all I found in the tavern however long ago. It was winter and Rings was being read, instantly hooked. See, there you go. A lovely a lovely endorsement from Jessica. Yeah, I think the last time we did it was last winter. Would have been the last time that we had a readathon. It was a while ago. My mate Mad Mick, whom I mentioned before, has a T-shirt that reads "Alive out of spite." That can be. Castle, if my book is ever voted in, I will die of laughter with you voicing very. Firstly, I die again with Breed. I do a wonderful cliche Irish accent. Welcome back, Frost. All right, I think that means it's time for. I think it's time for us to start story time. What do you guys think? I'm going to the pub with my friends and drinking some pints. It's a hell of a way to do it. Oh, nice. So it's been a year or so. About a year or so. It's about how long it's been. Crazy to think time goes that fast. Score, you said, is your real name Castle? So, yes, but it's not my first name. Castle is the English translation of my last name. May Governor, hello, Michael. Good to see you, my friend. Are you related to Fred Castle? Not as far as I'm aware. But it's a cool last name. It was given to me by my grandfather when I was a boy. My grandfather changed my name when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I grew very quickly when I was a boy, and I'm very broad, I'm very wide, wider than I am tall, as a matter of fact. So my cousins um, would just call me Kashlan, which is castle, and then they would shorten it to Kash, which is Guelga for cheese. So it was a way of making fun of me twice over for being big as well as being cheese. Are you talking about giving away the Rift series? Well, if you're going to pull my chain about it. Do you go by your middle name, Court? Mary Beth, hello, you made it in just in time. Uh, Breed mostly because she's so unfiltered and says funny things a lot. I mean, who says weather goddess? I'll hit her with a stick. That's funny. So you're cheesy. I'm about as cheesy as they come. If I were by. You do sometimes go by Richard, though. We're changing our family name to Valinor. That's a hell of a change, Michael. Also, good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you can make it in. If I told you my first name, you'd probably know my origin, quite possibly. Well, Skjord is obviously Scandinavian. I think Skjord is Swedish, possibly. You'll have to forgive me. I'm so far disconnected from my Scandinavian relatives at this point. Oh, your real first name? Yeah. I just assumed. Nico, hello. Castle by name, castle by build. More or less, bear. More or less. Breaking family curses. It's one of the finest established traditions that you can have is breaking family curses. Well, on my actual birthday, I'm going to do karaoke songs. Karaoke is an underrated. I think people have fallen away from karaoke. I think that they deserve. We should get back to it. Karaoke is a very fun form of public celebration and humiliation. I have two middle names, but if I picked one, I'd be Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a beautiful name. I do quite enjoy Elizabeth. Elizabeth is also funny because I have an aunt who is named Lithbeth, and people are constantly thinking that her name is Elizabeth, but it's not. It's Lithbeth. Uh, but I'd be fine with Pickle Rick too. When is your birthday? I spawned at some point. We don't celebrate my birthday around these parts. I rarely use my legal given name. It took me so long because you started with us on the Facebook portal, Bear. It took me so long to stop calling you by your first name. If that is your first name, if the name that I know you by is your first name, took me forever. Yeah, and but her name is not Lisbeth, it is Lithbeth, so it's Lithbeth. Yeah, it's just I've never really celebrated, and I just don't. It's just a thing. Hi, Castle. Elspeth is Scottish, indeed. Her name is Lithbeth, though. Lithbeth. Funny enough, that X is Norwegian. That's very funny. I would probably die of stage fright in normal karaoke, but I'll do it at work. I'm a caregiver for mentally disabled, so they don't judge. Fair enough. I don't know. I don't know. I've met some folk who are classified as such, who are very, very funny and very, very judgmental. I used to work with kids, and maybe this is kids in general, but I used to work with kids, and I worked with special needs kids for a while, and yeah, yeah. I won a lot of money in the early '90s at karaoke. All right, boys and girls, let's get started with story time, shall we? We are on chapter 15 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hollows. Now, when we last left off, Ron and Hermione. Sean, Red Top, my friend. Hello, brother. Good to see you. The ex's mom once cussed me out in Norwegian. She stopped as soon as I said, Jag snackar norsk. I was never here. All right, I will. Your identity is safe with me. Well, I might do 3 songs, probably just 1 song, and probably whiskey in the jar. There you go. There you go. Whenever I do karaoke, I like to do the Fairy Tale of New York, because it's one of those ones that's just so much fun to sing, and I can't do it during story time because we will get banned. It is an old song with old sensibilities, and, and let's just say that Twitch and TikTok are not fans of Irish tradition. Oh, all right. So when we last left off, Ron, Hermione, and Harry were getting into a fight, and they basically found out that the sword of Gryffindor is not only not locked away as it's supposed to be, but the one that is locked away is fake. And they've also found out that a couple of people who they know are on the run, and they're doing quite all right. The Fairy Tale of New York. The Fairy Tale of New York. There's a couple of different folks that do it. I think the Pogues are the ones that probably have the most famous version of it. And I've heard the Dropkick Murphys do it as well. These guys think my sarcasm is hilarious, so they don't really understand a lot goes over their heads. You got to appreciate that. Fairy Tale of New York, BRB. Does anyone want to speak French? The French, it's so funny because the French are so hell bent about the French language that, like, in places like French Canada, they have like the language police where you have to. I don't know if they still do, but back in the '90s they had the language, uh, the word police, the language police that would literally like make it so that your children had to be learning and speaking French. The French love French. Yeah, there are words in the Fairy Tale of New York that don't play well in modern social media. So Ron ran off in the middle of the night, and now there are Harry and Hermione are listening to Tonks's father and Dean talking to some goblins, and that's where they're basically learning a few things. See, Destiny, I don't even think the littles would catch up on it because like it's so smoothly incorporated into the lyricism of the song that I don't think they would notice unless you pointed it out to them. But for sure, some adult would notice if I sang it, and they would definitely get upset, and we would get banned. Well, it's true. Children are overwhelmingly observational. Squish is the first one to call stuff out in songs. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, friends, let us begin. For anyone who is going to be heading off before I put my head up, I wish you a good night. I thank you for coming in to visit. I hope that you enjoyed your drink and your camaraderie with your feather? Folks of a feather flock together, or birds of a feather flock together. I hope you enjoyed your camaraderie with your fellow adventurers, lantern bearers, and travelers here in the tavern. And I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas Yuletide holiday season, as it is absolutely one of my favorite times of the year. But Squish's favorite song is called Shots. Is it that song where he's screaming the word shots over and over again, or is it a shanty or something? Found you from the Odin video. Well, welcome in, Craig. I'm very glad that you could join us. I am Castle. This is my tavern. For all of the folk who are in here, I am Castle. This is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore, and every now and again I read you all a bedtime story. Tonight we are in Harry Potter. We're on chapter 15, and you have stumbled into a tavern at the end of the world where all stories eventually come to rest, and you were allowed here. The portals opened for you because you sought a story. So welcome in, grab your seat, fill a glass. I'm just about to start reading. Yes, that is the one. But he must move. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You like what you like. I remember way back in the day when my brother and I first started making videos on Vine. That song was in everything on Vine for a while. Okay, let us begin, my friends. Grab your seats, settle in. And for anyone who is new, we are on multiple portals. So if you prefer to be on Facebook, you can be on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick are all open. You can pick your preferred portal to enter through. Whatever is the most comfortable, grab your seat and enter in. If you need any help, you can flag down one of the barkeeps over on Twitch. They've got swords, but everywhere they'll have a symbol next to their name to mark them as being a barkeep, and they'll handle any questions you have while my head is down. All right, let's begin. Chapter 15 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows: The Goblin's Revenge. Early next morning, before the other two were awake, Harry left the tent to search the woods around them for the oldest, most no. Wait. Hang on, hang on. We are in. Oh, yeah, we already read this chapter. Never mind, that's my fault. We're on chapter 16, Godric's Hollow. Chapter 16, Godric's Hollow. When Harry woke the following day, it was several seconds before he remembered what had happened. Then he hoped childishly that it had been a dream, that Ron was still there and had never left. Yet by turning his head on his pillow, he could see Ron's deserted bunk. It was like a dead body in the way it seemed to draw his eyes. Harry jumped down from his own bunk, keeping his eyes averted from Ron's. Hermione, who was already busy in the kitchen, did not wish Harry good morning, but turned her face away quickly as he went by. He's gone, Harry told himself. He's gone. He had to keep thinking it as he washed and dressed. as though repetition would dull the shock of it. He's gone, and he's not coming back. And that was the simple truth of it. Harry knew, because their protective enchantments meant that it would be impossible, once they vacated this spot, for Ron to find them again. He and Hermione ate breakfast in silence. Hermione's eyes were puffy and red. She looked as if she had not slept. They packed up their things, Hermione dawdling. Harry knew why she wanted to spin out their time on the river bank. Several times he saw her look up eagerly, and he was sure she had deluded herself into thinking that she had heard footsteps through the heavy rain. But no red-haired figure appeared between the trees. Every time Harry imitated her, looking around, but he could not help hoping a little himself. He saw nothing but rain-swept woods, another little parcel of fury. A fury exploded inside of him. He could hear Ron saying, "We thought you knew what you were doing." And he resumed packing with a hard knot in the pit of his stomach. The muddy river beside them was rising rapidly and would soon spill over onto their bank. They had lingered a good hour after they would have usually departed their campsite. Finally, having entirely repacked the beaded bag 3 times, Hermione seemed unable to find any more reasons to delay. She and Harry grasped hands and disapparated, reappearing on a wind-swept heath-covered hillside. The instant they arrived, Hermione dropped Harry's hand and walked away from him, finally sitting on a large rock, her face on her knees, shaking with what he knew were sobs. He watched her, supposing that he ought to go and comfort her, but something kept him rooted to the spot. Everything inside of him felt cold and tight. Again he saw the contemptuous expression on Ron's face. Harry strode off through the heather, walking in large circles with the distraught Hermione at its center, casting spells she usually performed to ensure their protection. They did not discuss Ron at all over the next few days. Harry was determined not to mention his name again, and Hermione seemed to know that it was no use forcing the issue, although sometimes at night, when she thought he was sleeping, he would hear her crying. Meanwhile, Harry had started bringing out the Marauder's map and examining it by one light. He was waiting for the moment when Ron's labeled dot would reappear in the corridors at Hogwarts, proving that he had returned to the comfortable castle, protecting his status of pureblood. However, Ron did not appear on the map, and after a while, Harry found himself taking it out simply to stare at Ginny's name in the girls' dormitory, wondering whether the intensity with which he gazed at it might break into her sleep. That she would somehow know he was thinking about her, hoping that she was all right. By day, they devoted themselves to trying to determine some possible location of Gryffindor's sword. But the more they talked about the places in which Dumbledore might have hidden it, the more desperate and far-fetched their speculation became. Cudgel his brain though he might, Harry could not remember Dumbledore ever mentioning a place in which he might hide something. There were moments when he did not know whether he was angrier with Ron or with Dumbledore. "We thought you knew what you were doing. We thought Dumbledore had told you what to do. We thought you had a real plan." He could not hide it from himself. Ron had been right. Dumbledore had left him with virtually nothing. They had discovered one Horcrux, but they had no means of destroying it. The others were unattainable as they had ever been, hopelessly threatening to engulf him. Hopelessness threatened to engulf him. He was staggered now to think of his own presumption in accepting his friend's offers to accompany him in his meandering, pointless journey. He knew nothing, he had no ideas, and he was constantly painfully on alert for any indication that Hermione too was about to tell him that she'd had enough and that she was leaving. When did we start the first Harry Potter book? That's a wonderful question. It would have had to have been based on how long it usually takes us to finish reading a book. Probably almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago would have had to have been. Jared, hello, my friend. Hey, Castle, just hopping in to say hello. Currently distracted by the Game Awards, but have fun. Enjoy them, my friend. Hopefully, Expedition 33 better win. It had better. One of the best stories put to game this last year. They better give it its due, that's for sure. Yeah, I think now that I'm thinking about it, the last readathon was probably 2 winters ago. It does go by. It goes by so fast, doesn't it? 15 months ago, I think, during a readathon. Yeah, I think you're about right. It has to be at least a year and a half ago. It was just before I started being a regular. Yeah, so at least 15, 16 months. It did go by very quickly. Very, very quickly. Time flies when you're having fun with folk that you like. That's what they say. Order place for 2 black raspberries and 2 black hoodies. Bobby, thank you so much. I appreciate you, love. That's very kind. I hope that you'll enjoy them. Okay, alright. Back back to reading. They were spending many evenings in near silence, and Hermione took to bringing out Phineas Niglus's portrait and propping it up in a chair as though he might fill part of the gaping hole left by Ron's departure. Despite his previous assertion that he would never visit them again, Phineas Nigellus did not seem to be able to resist the chance to find out more about what Harry was up to, and consented to reappear blindfolded every few days or so. Harry was even glad to see him because he was company,